Welcome to the first Delia Secondary Lunch and Learn, informal teacher PD every Wednesday at lunch. Google is probably the #1 place we go to find information online. In fact, every second there's 40,000 searches, which translates into 3.5 billion searches every day on Google. So this workshop will cover advanced Google search, including Boolean operators, Google Newspapers, Google Scholar, and also the built-in Google Docs research tool. I'm going to begin with Google search terms, and I'm going to start with what Google doesn't see, which is punctuation and capital letters. So if we ask a question to Google, as we often do, like why are puppies better than kittens? Google is not interpreting this question the same way we would as humans. It's more like why puppies better are kittens than. It interprets these words individually. And I think we can all agree there are definitely some keywords in this phrase that are much more important than others. So the first tip when you're using Google search is to just use keywords. Don't ask full phrases of Google. Next, I'll talk about Boolean operators, which are and, or not. And if you use databases in university, you may be familiar with these words already. Essentially, they're used to bring back more relevant search results from keywords. For example, if I wanted articles that had puppies and kittens in it, I would use and. If I wanted articles with puppies or kittens and it didn't matter if it was just one, then I would use or. And if I wanted only articles on puppies, not kittens, I would use not. Now, Google search does use Boolean operators, but it just uses its own code for these three words. So instead of and, it puts things in quotation marks. Or is the same, make sure it's capital letters. And instead of putting the word not, they use a minus sign. Now, these Boolean operators are really handy when you're doing Google searches. For example, for direct quotations from books and things, if I just type in the quotation without putting quotation marks around it, you can see here I have over 1 million different results. And they're not so relevant to the thing I'm looking for. Now, if I put the same quotation in actual quotation marks, you can see now I only have 55 results. So it's narrowed down the results that came back and made them more relevant to exactly what I'm looking for. Now let's look at or. If I want the World Cup location in 2014 or 18, it doesn't matter which one, I could type that in, but it just is showing me results from 2018 mostly. But if I put in the operator or, now it'll bring back results for 2014 or 2018. So you can see it's a bit more related to what I was actually looking for. Inclusion sign can be really handy when what you're looking for is also related to something else. So if I'm doing a report on jaguars and I want to know how fast they are, you can see that a lot of results about the car is coming up. But if I exclude car and maybe even exclude vehicles and do a Google search, now my jaguar speed results are only related to the animals. When I'm working with students, I'll go over the Boolean operators and then I'll give them a chance to try it out. So I have them write a paper on the popularity or unpopularity of hip-hop and rap music in China and use the Boolean operators to get the best search results in Google. Often what students revert to is something simple like hip-hop in China. And not only does this bring back almost 20 million results to sift through, it's not about the core of the paper. It's more just bringing back search results about Chinese hip-hop artists. If the students take the whole phrase and enter that into Google search, it does come back with better search results, but not the most relevant. You can see the second one here talks about whether it should be hip-hop or rap, and that's not really related to what the paper would be about. Also, ProQuest database comes up, and if you don't have a subscription to that, then that resource won't be accessible. So then I emphasize using these Boolean operators to come back with better search results. Here I've put popular with a squiggly mark, because this will bring back similar words as well, like popularity or unpopular. Then I put hip-hop or rap because I want articles that have one or the other term. And I've put a dash in between hip and hop so that Google knows those words go together. China or Chinese, because again, articles with one or the other is fine. And I found I was getting a lot of videos and music coming up. So I'm going to minus YouTube and minus iTunes because I don't want any search results that are just examples of music. Seems like too much for your students, you can also just direct them to fill out an advanced Google search. And this uses the Boolean operators, but in a more clear way. So kids can really see what words will be included, what words will be excluded, and there's additional features such as searching in specific languages or regions or even time period. Next I'm going to talk about Google Trends, which are like Twitter hashtags, but for what people are searching on Google. This site helps us visualize what's been trending on Google by people searching. So here you can see some data, and if you scroll down, it'll show you articles and very specific topics that a lot of people are Googling on or clicking on through Google. That's very American-centered. The default is US. Let's change that to Canadian, and yep, there we go. So hockey's trending in Canada. You can also see at the top there, you can search by category as well. And this would be a fantastic prompt if you're doing current issues in your class, or you need some way to get the kids going on a writing topic or on their research. This is just a different way to get them going. A great search tool is Google Newspaper Archives, where you can search hundreds of newspapers from as long as 200 years ago. So when you bring up this website, you can just see the names of the different newspapers, and if you click into them, it'll show you back issues of that newspaper. So for example, here's one from 1821. So this is really great to find primary resources, say in history class. Now I get asked a lot of questions about Google Scholar. Is this a good place to go to find more academic papers and research, for the older kids especially? And yes and no. So say we're searching for something related to, say, Shakespeare. I don't need patents in there. But I'm looking for Shakespeare, and when I click OK, it seems like this is the perfect solution. There's all of these resources, and they're peer-reviewed journals, and it's everything good. But if you actually start clicking into some of the search results, for example, in this one here, you'll find that it will give you an abstract of the article, but most of the articles are not accessible without further payment or a login to a subscription. So Google Scholar brings up a lot of results, but you can't typically always access them. So I don't often suggest using Google Scholar. Instead, that's where our e-library comes in handy. So for academic papers, for especially the older grades, use the ProQuest e-library over Google Scholar. The last thing I'll mention in this tutorial is the Google Docs research tool, which is a built-in Google search right within Google Docs. If you're not familiar with this, click on this link and it'll take you to a video. Those of you who attended this workshop earned 50 individual points for the Delia Tech Challenge. I'll be back next Wednesday at lunchtime for the next Delia Secondary Lunch and Learn Informal Teacher PD. Thanks!